Hello and welcome back to Satisfactory. My name is Okada, and today is Steel Day. Now, if you came along for the journey last episode, and if you stuck around to the end, then you'll know that today we were going to do a couple of things. Not only were we going to try to start our steel area, but we were going to actually go exploring to find out where the steel is going to be. And that was kind of important because, when we scan from here, we see coal in this area, but we don't see iron. And without iron, we can't produce steel. And, maybe there's some iron out of reach, just, from here or out of range. Hey, what's this? Was there always coal over here? All right, let's put a pin in that. Anyway, the idea was to go exploring through here, find these coal nodes, and then scan for iron from there to see if there's any iron nearby. But there are some complications and some things I realized, and rather than stand here on our porch, because this is going to be a heavy episode, let's just start doing, and I'll explain along the way. Okay, so here we are back at our power generation area, our coal area. And, it's pretty. I like it. Initially, I realized that it could be used for steel, but I kind of discarded it because that iron node right there is covered by rock, and we need explosives to free it up. Though we can get explosives relatively easily at this point because it takes steel, and, well, it's what we'll be making. And we could just get a few in there just to do the research if we had to. But I didn't actually see any other iron around here, and I didn't really consider it to be a steel area. But when I had proposed going and exploring for iron at the other coal areas, I didn't really consider that we could just come right here and scan from here, because this would put us within range. And we should get our coal. There we go. So yeah, I knew there was a couple of nodes over there, and that was the plan for the beginning of this episode. But then I realized I could come over here and scan, and I did between episodes, and I discovered a couple of things. First thing I discovered is that, look at there, just 200 meters away, there are two nodes. Another one a little further out. But right next to us, there are more nodes, so we don't really have to worry about this. The other thing that you may have noticed is that there haven't been any more pings on the map, meaning there is no iron anywhere in this area. So these coal nodes are no good for steel. So we're not going to waste our time exploring for those for the purposes of steel. But that puts us in a dilemma. This area turns out to be very good for steel, and there's a couple of reasons. I'm going to run downstairs and show you the secondary reason. The first one being that, well, we found the other iron right there on the other side of it. And the other reason is this. Something I didn't mention last time we were out here, but it's something I noticed, which was that we're running out of water space. We are really going to have trouble producing enough water for power generation if this site remains a coal burner area. We have 3 pure nodes of coal here and a normal node. There's no way, even with overclocking, we're going to generate enough water in this area for all the power that we could generate. And we have options, right? There is water elsewhere that we could pump in. And that's still an option if we were to go with power here. But the point being is that this is less optimal for power than it is for steel. Now, what that means in the long term is that if we decide to go steel here, we will probably tear down all of the power generation, but not necessarily right at the beginning, and have to migrate it somewhere else. But we just, while I was talking, right, we just scanned and found another coal area over here, and this area is actually really accessible. Because this is an easy run from home. And it would actually be an easy area to run rail line in the future. Also, we could run rail line down this canyon. So if this turns out to be a good area for steel, then maybe we'll do that instead. So I'm going to run all the way back across. I gotta run all the way here just so I can show you those pings. I'm gonna run all the way back and all the way over here. I'll do a live analysis when I'm there. So let's get going. I wouldn't exactly say we're going there in style, but we got this thing. Oh, 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 the cliff. All right. All right. Let's get going. All right, here we are. I forgot how fast that thing moved. Oh, bacon. All right, I didn't pre-scan for iron because I know that we need potentially a place to move power. And so this, at the very least, there's all water here. I knew this would be a good place to move our power to. Holy cow, 5. Where did the last one just pinged hit? That's pretty far out. So there's 4 of them on the other side of this ridge. I must have driven right over that one. And the moment of truth is iron. Although we do need limestone but hopefully some sulfur as well. Only 1? Oh, whoa, look at all those. I mean, it would be over here and over here, but if we went with this as steel, it wouldn't be hard to bring all that together as on conveyors. All right, I'm going to think about this, see how accessible everything is, and then I'll come back with a decision. All right, so I got some bad news, which is that all of those coal nodes are all normal. It keeps running into the ocean. He's a boss. Finish him off. They are all normal nodes, which, we could work around, but to be honest, this is much better for power generation because, we're going to graduate into oil for power generation somewhere down the line, and coal will become less important for that function. And this area is much better for the power generation with all the water it has. And we know there's a sulfur nearby, so we can reinstitute compacted coal over here. The other area is definitely going to be better for steel. So we're going to do a swap. We're gonna move power over here. We're gonna build steel out there. I want to focus mostly on steel. So I'm going to do some math on all the steel buildings that are going to go up, how much power we're going to need to generate to support them, and decide whether or not we can get away with just doing steel now and then coming back here later and bringing up some power, or if I need to start the infrastructure here to get some power going in order to support our steel annex. So I'll be back when I make a decision, and we'll get started with probably steel next. All right. Oh man, that was a little over 4 hours of my life in 2 minutes. Oh, but it was worth it. Look at this. Isn't it pretty? It really came together nicely. Now, there's no reason really to show you the interior. I mean, you saw it in the little flyby. And that was my first attempt at using the animation tools that are partnered with the time-lapse tool that I already use for the time lapses. I feel like it came out pretty well. But I went away and I said I was going to do the math on whether or not we needed more power on our initial steel setup, and that was going to determine whether or not I was going to set up power here right away. And in truth, the math came out that we did not need to do this immediately. The initial steel setup is going to probably run us around 160, 180 megawatts of additional power, which we had surplus for. But while doing the math, it reminded me of just how demanding steel is. We have 3 pure coal nodes over there. And assuming that we have 3 pure iron nodes, or at least that we can overclock up to there, that really doesn't go far. Now, it will get us into our next unlock, so we can get advanced steel, and that's about it. I mean, it really does not produce much. So, acknowledging that, we're going to turn in the first products from steel, and then we're going to turn right back around and go out there and start the next phase of steel construction. At that point, we're just going to need that much more power, and we're going to need that much more space. So I decided to just go ahead and build this while we're here. What we're probably going to do is right after we do upgrade to Mark IIs, I'm going to come right back out here and I'm going to build another one of those buildings. So I'll almost assuredly do that off camera, probably between episodes. But we're going to need the additional power, and we're going to take down the other power from the other location so that we have more space to build our steel manufacturing. So that being said, I'm going to drive home. I'm going to go to the other coal area, and we're going to get started making steel. Oh, do you see what I see? I don't think we've got this one. On our way back from... Yeah, this is right here on our road. How did I miss that before? All right. Be something easy, be something easy. Oh, modular frame, sweet! All right. A couple things here. First of all, we wanted to do this improved melee combat, both because of the Xenobasher and because more inventory slots. Right now, I'm more interested in the inventory slots. So we're going to turn that one in real quick like. All right.
Milestone reached.
Nice.
R&D
all right, so a few more spots.
Dimension, added an additional
also, the MAM finished while I was
with increased strength and range.
digging through all my... Oh man, there's so much stuff here. I can't wait to get all this off the yard. This has potential. I mean, it's not great, but remember, we have only one copper node here, and we have 2 iron nodes that we're not using currently. So we could actually incorporate this and get ourselves some more copper. I'd kind of rather it had been the wet version because we have water right next to us. But we definitely don't need wet concrete, and I don't see myself ever taking biocoal. So let's go ahead and take this and get moving. So we're back at the original coal area, and I'm storing away the excess compacted coal because we need to shut all this down and drain it all out. And I'm just standing here. You know, it's a customary thing in Satisfactory that you have to tear things down and rebuild them over and over again as you progress through, your unlocks, and you get better things and alternate recipes, and production rates are increased, and things are higher demand and whatnot. So it's really customary to have to kind of break down stuff you've already done and rebuild it again or build it somewhere else. And that's just what we're doing right now. But this area was so nice, and I've rebuilt this 3 times now. I was so happy with it on the last time that I finished rebuilding it. I hate to tear it down. It's got to go. It just does. But yeah, this is just the sad thing. Sitting off camera, kind of just watching the line drain out. So fortunately, these other 2 nodes are pure. So we will have 3 pure iron nodes matching with 3 pure coal nodes without having to do any kind of overclocking or whatnot. And of course, they will actually very shortly after be replaced with Mark II miners. So that will go from 360 iron per minute to 720. But that's also going to have to require the upgrade of the belts to Mark III. So when we start getting our iron going, we're actually going to complete 2 more of the tiers in the current milestone, or just back to back. All we need are steel tubes and some steel beams. So it'll be pretty easy that, once we get the basic machines up and running, to just kind of let them all go into a box and collect a few up, and then would be ready for the next advanced steel, and then we continue to work this area out. So this is how I'm going to deliver all of them. I just thought this would be an interesting way of doing it, so that we can split the lines. I thought about splitting them sideways, and I thought, you know what? With these lifts, we can kind of tier it up. That's pretty cool. So they will go down to the bottom floor. Of course, right now these assemblers are doing compacted coal. These assemblers will be gone, and they'll be replaced with foundries. And down here where we have the coal, which you can see has run out already, and the sulfur coming through, these will be gone, and new versions of them will be put in place, because the iron's going to come down here, and we'll have more coal coming up because we'll tie all 3 of the pure together, and then we'll do some kind of splitting to go up into the foundries to start making our new steel, the steel ingots. And then the steel ingots will go to the top floor for processing in the constructors, and the constructors will make the tubes and the pipes, and then once we have those turned in, we will be able to start making the encased steel beams, which will require limestone, which we have, I think, limestone right over there. And I think we have a limestone like right there. You can see it in the background. So that's going to be the plan. It's not going to be easy to show the building of this on camera because we have, all the high roofs and whatnot in the way. The same reason why I didn't show the rebuilding of this facility the first time. So I'm going to work something out here, and maybe we'll just build it and then come back and have a tour of it. Okay, it's time for math with Volcata. I did some math and I future-proofed this. Not truly future-proofed it, but I immediately future-proofed it. So, let's do the math real quick. We don't have a whole lot of time left in this video. One foundry consumes 45 ore and coal per minute to produce 45 steel. So all the numbers are even, 45, 45, 45. So that makes that fairly easy. What doesn't make it easy is that it's 45 per minute, which our belts are running at 120 per minute. 120 doesn't divide by 45 very well. So 2 machines would be 90 per minute with 30 left over on the belt, which is not enough to supply the third machine. Now, if we go up to 3 sets of miners, we're talking about 360 per minute, which does divide evenly into 45. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't work out in blocks of 120. As mentioned, one belt carries, 90 plus 30. So it's 2 machines and a little under a third. If we consider that when we go to Mark II, which we're going to do soon, then we are going to have an output of 720 per minute. Basically doubling all the math. But things work out a little bit more in our favor, and I'm going to try to explain this in a way that makes sense. So I built this whole setup for when we're running at 720, which we're going to be going at almost immediately after we turn this on, because we just need some steel to get our Mark IIs. And then we need a little bit more steel to get our Mark II belts. So at 720, we have 5 machines with a little bit left over. It's still not even math. The thing is that the game cheats a little bit. Our Mark I belts do 60 per minute. Mark II do 120, they double. Mark III, however, goes to 270 per minute, not 240. So it has a little extra leeway, a little wiggle room. And we're going to take advantage of that. So what's going to happen is we're going to have 3 belts coming in, all going at 240 per minute, because it's going to be 3 Mark II miners. We're not merging anything. And we have a 30 per minute capacity leeway on each belt. What will happen is the first belt will come down, and this is going to be true for the iron ore and for the coal. Which actually, this is the coal, this is the iron ore. And the first one's going to come down here, and it's going to split 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to leave 15 coal or ore left over that the 5 machines are not using. And that 15 extra will split off and go to belt number 2. Now this is a smart splitter, so it's set to send the overflow out this way. That means all 5 of these machines will fill up before the excess gets shuffled off. Now here's where we get the advantage of the Mark II or Mark III belts, having that extra little bit of headspace. Now if it were at 240, there would be 240 worth of material coming down, which is what there will be, and it wouldn't be able to take the extra 15. However, since it's 270 capacity, it will take the extra 15 no problem. So that's going to go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this case, at the end of this smart splitter, we're going to now have 30 left over. Still not enough to run one full foundry, but that 30 extra is going to come off of here onto this 240 line, maxing it at 270. I think you can see where this is going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Smart split. And we have 30 left, or we have 45 left now coming off onto the final belt. Same goes for the iron ore coming down this belt. And they will work together and they'll go upstairs to a 16th foundry. So 5, 5, 5 for 15. And then number 16 will be the miscellaneous over here. We won't have to underclock anything. There's no extra machines that are underclocked to use the extra on a belt. And when we merge them it's going to do the exact same thing in the opposite. So when this one produces its 45 per minute, it's going to go through a 3-way splitter, and it's going to split them back into 15s. So it's going to go straight into a merger on the first set of 5, and that 5 is going to produce all of its iron ore up to, just under 240, 225? And that 15 on the end will bring it back up to 240. And then the second belt will merge here, and will come down, and the next one will merge on the last set of 5. So the 3 sets of 5 will be 240 iron ingots apiece going upstairs. And here's where all 3 will come up, and our array of 16 constructors. So the math is a little weird. It's fine for what we're doing with the ingots, but when we talk about beams versus the pipes, they're a little wonky. So our steel beams are eating up 60 ingots per minute for only 15 beams. That's kind of terrible, which is why I said that we needed to turn this into a full-blown steel production area rather than kind of doing it halfway and trying to keep the power over here. So 4 of these machines in a row here will eat up 240 from one belt, and I fell off. So the first belt will come over here, and it's just these 4. And then we have another belt that's coming up and hitting these 4. And then the last belt's coming up, and it's running right down the middle, splitting in 2. Remember, it's 240 on the belt, and it's going both directions. So steel pipes use 30 per minute and produce more. So the 30 per minute at 8 machines will be the 240. So I'm going to plug this all in. I'm going to cross my fingers, and let's just hope it all works. Our first steel ingots. Excellent. So I'm not sure which. Hopefully one set of these are going to pipes and one set are going to the beams, because we need both. All right, that one's going to beams, and I think they're both going to beams, unless one comes up right here. I don't know which one it is. Come on. Excellent. All right, down the middle. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Oh, there goes our first beams. Okay. All right, so everything's looking good. Right now, the thing we care most about is the miner. And then we will unlock this. I will unlock this off camera because it's just clicking the button. It's going to take time for the shuttle to come back. But that way we'll have our conveyor belt Mark III and our conveyor lift Mark IIIs. These stackable pipeline supports, I love these so much, and I don't know why they hide them this far back in the tree. But this is going to let me do a lot more clean stuff around, all the fluids, and I can't wait to have that as well. All right, let's get this going. All right, Mark II miners. So today was, it was a big episode, and we got a ton done. Got new power going, and now we have Mark III miners, and we have steel. Not only do we have steel built, but we already have steel prepared for the next tier of steel. We didn't just throw down a few machines and then have to immediately rebuild all of it once we get our Mark II miners and our Mark III belts. It's all built. Of course, I'm going to need to go back over there between episodes here and just upgrade everything. There's no new building, so there's no reason for us to do it on camera. I don't know how far we'll go into steel next episode because, you know, we got a lot of stuff to do here. And I want to finish getting these things off the floor and get our first assembler building up and running over here. But thank you very much for coming out. If you made it to the end, thank you very much for making it. Hopefully I can cut this down to 30 minutes. We'll see how it goes. You know, as always, if you liked it, leave a like. You know, this episode probably took in excess of 10 hours to do. And, you know, it's great. We're starting to get some traction on this series. And more people are starting to watch it. I'm starting to see longer view times, which is very much appreciated. Just, you know, be aware that it does take a lot of work, but it's a labor of love. So if you liked it, definitely leave a like. And if you're enjoying it and you haven't subscribed yet, or if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. That way you'll be notified, you know, when new episodes come out. I think you have to click the bell icon. I'm not really sure. Also, remember, I do have a Twitter account. But thank you very much for coming out. And leave a comment if you have anything to say. Love hearing from you guys. And thank you so much for watching. And I hope to see you in the next episode.